At last Friday's Nintendo Direct, we got our first look at Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, a new game taking place in the same universe as Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, of course, this reveal has been all that the fandom has been able to talk about for days, but one question seems to stand above all the others. Is this a prequel or a sequel? I've been hearing a lot of arguments back and forth, but I think I have come to a conclusion. I think it's pretty strong, so let's see what you guys think. Also, this video will contain major spoilers for the DLC for Three Houses. Now, I want to focus more on one of our new characters, Kai. As of now, we don't know a lot about him. We know that his motivation is to help his father, but that's really it. We also know that he has a crest, specifically the crest of Aubin. Now, Aubin was one of the four apostles, loyal followers of the divine Ceros, daughter of Sothis, who sought to resurrect their slain goddess. To this end, the four apostles attempted a ceremony known as the Rite of Rising. However, the rite failed, and in shame, the apostles went into a self-imposed exile. Aubin traveled to Fergus, and lived out the rest of his days in a rural village where the sun didn't shine. Over the next 1,000 years, the crest of Aubin was considered to be lost to history, before popping up again in the hands of Yuri Leclerc, who'd gotten a blood transfusion from an elderly Aubin in his youth. Aubin isn't the only apostle whose crest can be seen in this trailer. We also see the crest of Noah, the founder of House Nouvelle, on the medallion of this unknown cat-masked figure, further cementing this game must take place after the arrival of the Saints. Now, the events of the Rite of Rising took place in the year 185, the same year that Garreg Mach was founded, centuries after the death of Sothis, and still 1,000 years before she was finally brought back to Earth in the form of Beleth Eisner. This means that, before the events of Three Houses, there is no time frame in which a living physical Sothis and the crest of Aubin coexist. Now, I don't really know what's going on with Sothis at this point, but it seems pretty clear to me that this has to take place after the events of Three Houses because of that. The main reason why many people take issue with the idea of this game being a sequel is because of the structure of Three Houses, as if it's a sequel, it would obviously have to choose between the four routes in the game as to which one is the canon version of events. It would really anger all the Lions and the Eagles in the audience if it turned out that actually, Best Boy Claude had the canon route. However, Nintendo already has experience with avoiding answering this exact type of question with probably the most popular game on the original Switch, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game takes place so far in the future that, no matter which timeline it comes at the end of, the endpoint is still the same. Ganon, Link, and Zelda have gone through a cycle of reincarnation for hundreds, if not thousands of years to this point, and the tales in other games are barely more than half-remembered legends. And the same could be said of this game. We see a future where, vaguely, the Agarthan Rebellion has been put down, and the survivors are integrated back into Fodlan society. Some form of church venerating Sothis also remains in existence, fixing up the Holy Tomb to serve as a proper throne room upon Sothis' return. The church may be the Church of Ceros, but doesn't necessarily have to be. Exactly who did these things doesn't matter, as this could be a believable outcome in the long term for multiple routes. There are also rumors that the game may take place in Almyra, which would further separate the events of the game from the traditional history of Fodlan. So there we are. I am convinced that this game is a sequel to Three Houses. Just not one that's going to answer our questions. But, what do you guys think? Does this seem like a reasonable outcome to you, or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. And with that, I have other videos to work on, so I'll let you guys go. Take care.